Welcome to my channel. This is JC Rock and Metal Reviews. My name is John, and today I have a new album review by the band Weezer, and the name of the album is called Van Weezer. So before I begin, if you're new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button. This way you get updated every time I release a new video. So Van Weezer is their 15th studio album by the band Weezer, and for those of you who clicked on my video probably read my thumbnail and saying that this is their heavy metal album, but let me clarify, this is not Weezer playing heavy metal songs, nor is it Weezer changing into a heavy metal style. They're still doing that Weezer thing, that pop punk, but they do incorporate elements of heavy metal into each of the songs, and they do, to some degree, do make it work. They mostly cover styles like classic metal, hair metal, traditional heavy metal, and there's one song that does have like thrash metal elements. But like I said, this is a Weezer album. I wouldn't even say it's their heaviest album. It's just a Weezer album paying tribute to the genre. This is the second Weezer album released this year. OK Human was released back in January, and I have a full review of it that I will link at the end of my video. So Rivers Cuomo started working on this album back in 2019. They had the idea for this for a while now. The first single was released back in 2019 called The End of the Game. The original album release date was set for May 2020, but like most albums this year, it was delayed due to the pandemic. This album was dedicated to Eddie Van Halen after his passing. They released 4 singles prior to the release of this album, which are The End of the Game, Hero, Beginning of the End, and I Need Some of That. So let me talk about the songs. The album is 10 tracks with a runtime of about 31 minutes. The first song is called Hero, and it immediately sounds like a Weezer song. Has their signature chords, the catchy choruses. The sound is a little more throwback to their like Blue album sound, and you're going to be hearing a lot more of that throughout this album. There are some guitar fills. It does give it a slight metal feel, and there is a guitar solo, so it's a pretty cool opener. Next is called All the Good Ones, and this one has a chord progression similar to Beverly Hills. And Rivers Cuomo, he is like rapping the verse section, and this song incorporates many elements of like pop music, and the sound reminds me a little more of their like mid-2000s sound. Next is The End of the Game, and this starts out with the guitar solo, a little reminiscent of like Eddie Van Halen. Even the opening riff sounds like a Van Halen song, but this is still pop punk, and it's still classic Weezer. It has that signature chord progression, has the chorus, has the palm muted chords in the verse, and also has many different guitar fills. And like I said before, a little more reminiscent of Van Halen or hair metal in general. Song number 4 is called I Need Some of That, and this is a fun song. It's Rivers talking about his childhood. He mentions listening to Aerosmith. It's still classic Weezer. It has that chord progression in the verse and the heavier chords in the chorus, so it's just like one of their classic songs. Next is Beginning of the End, and this is another classic pop punk song. This one incorporates cleaner guitars in the verse section and heavy guitars in the chorus. This is another song talking about listening to heavy metal in their youth. It has some twin guitar solos. I thought that was pretty cool. Reminds me of those like classic 80s hair metal bands. Next is Blue Dream, and this is like the first like real like metal song on the album. It starts out with a main riff by Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train, but Rivers Cuomo does turn it into a Weezer song. There are heavy guitars in the chorus, and the Crazy Train riff is played at various parts throughout the song, and the verse section does have a variation of the Crazy Train like verse riff. It's one of the faster and heavier songs, but still it's classic Weezer. There's also like a classic metal solo and uses some pretty cool pedal effects. Now the next song is probably my favorite. It's called One More Hit, and it is the heaviest song on the album. It pays tribute to like thrash metal, but still mixed with that classic Weezer like pop punk sound, and they turn it into something very interesting, like a mixture of like pop punk and crossover thrash. But my favorite part of the song is the breakdown about 2 minutes into the song. It's very thrashy, and it kind of like goes through this like change, reminding me a lot of like classic crossover thrash, thinking of a band like DRI or Scatterbrain. Next is Sheila Can Do It, and one has more of an 80s metal vibe, but still it's a pop punk song. It's a Weezer song and does incorporate some elements of metal into the guitar leads. After that is She Needs Me, and this one I like a lot. It starts out like a power ballad, but still has that classic sound. It has pretty catchy, it has a big guitar sound, and it's more of a throwback to their early like 90s sound, but does incorporate some metal inspired lead guitar work. And the last song is probably another one of my favorites, called Precious Metal Girl, and the title is a play on words. And this song is like the true like ballad on the album. It has like acoustic guitar strums, and I really like the lyrics of the song. They talk about 80s bands like Faster Pussycat and LA Guns, and how she uses Aquanet in her hair and wears leather jacket and patches. So it's a complete description of the 80s metal scene, played as like an acoustic, like in one of those like power ballads. And that's the end of the album. The vinyl actually has 2 more songs, but I wasn't able to hear those. So if you do buy the vinyl, there are 2 extra songs. In conclusion, I like the album to a degree. I was expecting more of a heavy metal influence, and in the end, the only songs that I did like were One More Hit, She Needs Me, and Precious Metal Girl. The rest of the songs are just okay. I feel they incorporated too much of a modern pop sound, and I would have preferred something closer to their 1994 debut. I don't dislike the album. I listened to it 3 times all the way through, but I enjoyed it. I didn't feel the need to skip any songs. The song Blue Dream was okay, but they could have written like an original riff instead of just like recycling Crazy Train. All in all, an okay album. I liked Okay Human better. I'll give this a score of a 7 out of 10. I think the hardcore Weezer fans would probably like it a lot more than I would, and probably rate it higher. So I'm interested in watching like the other reviews from the other channels. So that's it. Comment below, let me know what you thought of the album. This weekend I have 2 more new releases by Artillery and Sumo Psycho. I'll be reviewing some of the albums that you see behind me that Aaron sent me. I'll be talking about the Beatles at some point this week, so stay tuned for all of that. Please check out my in-video links. I will be linking my review of OK Human and my review of the 1994 Blue album. So if you want to hear me talk more about Weezer, check those out. And that's it. See you in the next one.